right, folks, we're back here, episode 22 of the Contractor Compass. We got the whole gang together. Figured we're going to start going live a little earlier here during while everybody's hopping in, all the small talk going on. We were just talking. Next time we do this, we're gonna start a different. I don't know what we're gonna name it.
Right.
But we're gonna do it in the evenings over some whiskey and cigars. And guys, I haven't even shared the topic with either of you today, but I just made it easy. Something that I think I've intentionally kind of strayed from because I want to make sure we touched on other things, but just marketing your home service business. And I kind of wanted to. We've touched on this a lot of little ways, but I kind of wanted to talk about it in a different way. And obviously, we'll see where this conversation takes us. But one thing I wanted to focus on was, because this is a pretty bland title, right? Marketing your home service business, but specifically. We can talk about platforms and whatever and things that we think people should do and whatever. But I think that everybody thinks a lead is a lead. What I mean by that is like everybody thinks the leads that come from certain places are all the same.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or like they're all going to, whatever their predisposition is to, Google or Angie's or whatever it might be. And it's just not the case, right? Where you have your Facebook leads, the type of process that needs to be done for that. You have your Google leads, you got LS, whether it's PPC or LSA. You've got the side of the business that's bringing in, whether it's paper or direct mail or whatever it might be, that type of lead, that type of customer. Obviously you got your referral. That's a whole different beast, right? Everybody wants like the referral customer. Who doesn't, right? The odds of in the marketing space, referrals are incredibly difficult. Right? Because contractors don't want to be each other's friends. Okay. We have an incredibly attractive referral program for people. Like we'll actually pay if a partner of ours refers another company to us, we will pay you $250 a month, every month that company is with us, every month forever. Right. Still incredibly difficult to get. So my point being, yes, everybody wants referral business, but they think that the Google lead that comes to them is going to be the exact same as the referral lead, right? Where it's just not the case. Where Tom, for example, let's say when you have new dealers coming to you, let's just take a 10,000 foot view. Where do you have most of your, let's just say for IHCS, where do you have most of your new business coming from? Is it more of like referral based? Like we work together. Obviously we refer people to you all the time, or are you actively out there marketing? Where are your streams and what do you see coming in and how do you see the difference of leads and quality and all that good stuff?
We do some Facebook marketing. We do some, we currently, funny you should bring that up. We have referral partners like you that we call rev share partners that we like that the best because it's a warm lead.
Yeah.
And when I first started the company, I had a list of, 4,500 HVAC contractors across the United States. And they'd be like, hi, yeah, this is Tom from IHCS Finance. I'd like to talk to you about your financing. We got financing. Click. And so we found that a warm lead is a much more closable deal on our side because it's, the referral partner has a relationship with them and they say some nice things about us and what we can do by getting more customers of that dealer approved for financing. So we like the warm leads better. We're starting to get, as we grow our contractor business, we're starting to get more dealers saying, hey, I know, they run into them at the distributor. Yeah. And they develop a network, even though they may be in the same town, they develop a little bit of a network and there's, hey, I need some help with my financing. It's like, well, I'm using this company called IHCS. So we're going to be building a referral partnership from a standpoint of a dealer sends us a lead. It's the first one's like $150 gift card. The second one's a $200 one. The next one's a, 300 or whatever like that, just as a way to say thank you. But most contractors know other contractors, maybe even in the same town, but certainly they have a network. So
yeah, and that's nice, and that makes complete sense. Like, that's a nice stream in. So to kind of flip the script and to ask, kind of see what you've seen, Jay. So let's take it back with the companies that you've worked with? Because and I'll dive deeper into what I think, but there's different levels of companies, and like you might have a company. We've got companies all the time that are small that come to us and say, I want more leads, I want more leads, I want more leads. And then we'll get them more leads and they have no idea what to do with them. Right. Or it's like, hey, we have this budget. Let's just say they have a $1,500 ad spend budget a month. Right. Or like our minimum is $55 a day. So it's $1,650 a month. Right. Let's just say we have for a budget. Right. Well, Facebook is your answer. Okay. Because you don't have enough money to go into Google. Right. And be competitive. Right. Let alone like be able to test keywords and bid on the whatever. It's just, I mean, you can try, but it's it's gonna be a while, right?
Yeah, you're out by 8:30 in the morning.
Correct. 100%. Yes. 100%. So it's like, okay, Facebook's your answer, but then they don't have systems or processes to actually set appointments and close Facebook leads because they're very, very different. And it's like, man, to my initial point, starting the pod, it's like leads are not equal. And when you're talking about marketing your home business, you almost have to figure out your weaknesses and your strengths and like play off of those, right? We have money. So we can spend here and we can afford to pay more for a lead, but it's a better lead. And, maybe may not have a ton of volume, but like we're getting a solid lead, right? Like we're running Google or hey, we don't have a ton of cash to spend, but we're freaking dogs, right? We're going to get the appointment set and we're going to sell the damn deal because we got phenomenal financing. We got kick-ass deals and like so it's interesting. So like a lot of people don't understand that. And then they get into like a Facebook program. We just had a very difficult client we had to offboard because I think we might have talked about this on our last pod, but the owner's wife was the one taking all the calls. And we actually send a thing out. I had one of our account managers make a Loom video and a slideshow presentation that goes through and says, with Facebook leads, this process is non-negotiable, right? Because we have so many issues with that. And then now the thing that we're getting is when the girls call them and check in, hey, what's your follow-up process like? They actually won't even answer in a manner that actually answers the question because they know they're not doing what they supposed to.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I can drink the water, but I can't make you drink.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, and definitely every lead is different for sure. I mean, none until they're the same. So when you are working on separate platforms, I mean, there's different approaches that you even have to them within your office. So we have different processes for ENG type leads. You have different processes for Facebook leads. And for us, it's fee. Like, do you charge service fees? Do you not charge service fees? Some do get the service fee, but some don't. ENGs and Facebook don't get no service fees, right? It's like, hey, we're just going to come out. We're just really trying to get our foot in the door because we know these are more kicking your tire type, got multiple quotes, really just kind of searching around. When you get your Google PPC leads or your LSAs and things like that, which kind of ties in, they're more of a higher quality type lead. They're direct searching you. Sometimes they fall into organic, sometimes they are repeat, just depending on where they're at. But your approach 100% has to be completely different. And then your follow-up has to be completely different. You got to have some sort of call system in place to where, and you got to be tracking it, right? You got to be making sure that your team.
Not to cut you off, Jace, but the thing that you mentioned there to touch on that's important, that I kind of lost my train of thought when I started going into that. I got on a rant. But what I was going to say is the most successful companies that we see that we work with that are actually, they're actually growing. They've been around, right? They know what they're doing. They do have those individual processes for each type of lead, and they understand the difference in the types of leads. Where, like I said, you might get a newer company that's never done any type of lead gen, and they'll lose their freaking mind, and they're like, I know it works because I'm watching other people do it, but I don't know how. And then they'll go from company to company to company to company to company until they're finally, or until they one go out of business, or two, they're like they finally figure this shit out, and they're like, okay. All leads are not equal. This is what we're good at. We need to look into it.
That's it.
But the most successful ones have different processes like that.
And it has to carry all the way through, right? It's got to carry from your office to your technician. Your technician is going to get in the house and he's going to have a different approach.
Correct.
Now a lot of systems and processes in the field can be tailored almost to a full spectrum, right? Meaning that, as long as you're providing your 3 estimates and things like that, greeting the customer, doing that whole process, that's good. You can typically convert those. But still, at the end of the day, that's the a big feature of making sure that your technicians can see the campaign that they're walking out to, or the lead generation that they are walking. Our guys already know if they're walking into an Angie's mentally, they're already preparing themselves for a whole different approach.
Correct.
Opposed to a repeat customer. And unfortunately it is, and we try to be non-judgmental while we're out there, but I mean, when technicians are not dummies.
Yeah, correct.
And they sense it. The minute they walk into it, they know, hey, and we have full meetings where the guy's like, dude, I've been working X amount of these Angies and they convert at this. I'm working this amount of Facebook, they work at this. I'm working, repeat customers or Google. And so if your technicians are identifying that and they're giving you that feedback and you're not changing any system or process in the front of the house, I mean, that's a problem, right?
100%.
So at the skill set has to start definitely within. So here's what we do. We definitely have no fees for those type of lead generation platforms. If you're going to run Facebook, no fees. Get out there, get your foot in the door. You're really going to be probably facing a price conscious individual. So your approach has to be more.
They're only talking to you right now because they saw a finance offer or a rebate offer, something that caught them.
And that's the other thing. You got to understand what ad are they really kind of. Don't throw so many ads out there that you have no clue really what's and they're so far apart from each other, right? Because if you're doing somebody, if you're doing a financing one and then you got somebody calling for, let's say IAQ ad, and you have no clue what ad they actually called off, you're not tracking that in your system, you're going to go out there and your guys, he's going to be playing at a whole different playbook, right?
Correct. So he's pitching air quality products and they wanted financing and they're like,
and they wanted financing on some completely separate. So you got to definitely make sure you're having tracking numbers tied to these things. Correct. So you guys know where they're at and just, tailor your campaigns in your system to identify that.
Yeah. Tom, you were going to say something. Feel free to cut us off.
As I was just listening to you guys talk, part of the thing is that, I talked to a gentleman the other day and he said that he's getting all these, he has a company that he's getting leads from and things like that, but his execution is terrible. As in his conversion rate is terrible. Is there any process that you could think of, either one of you guys, where, like almost like an inside sales as a service product bolt on to like your lead generation, to where someone in your office would get the lead for Jim's AC and basically do the appointment setting, set all,
So a couple things here. So a couple things here. So that's possible. Like for us, we're partnered with a call center that we can team people with that we've worked with for 4 or 5 years. It's at the end of the day, anybody listening to this is still a damn call center. Okay. We battle with them all the time. Right. And they're great. I love the owner. It's the best call center I've found. Right. They give a shit. They're really good. Right. So as a marketing company, we can partner people with call centers if necessary. Another thing we've really been pushing that we've talked about on this pod before is the AI outbound calling. We're implementing that more and more and more and more and more. It does an okay job of setting the appointment on the call, right? If it gets a hold of the customer, but what it's really, honestly, where the values really come in is with callbacks. After the AI call goes out, they will call back and the company will answer. But to your point, Tom, there's a few different, because what you're explaining right now is 90, well, maybe that's a little high, 80% of the companies that we get in, right? So if you're an owner and he's literally telling you, I am not executing, I'm not calling leads, I'm not whatever, get someone else to do it immediately. Because him and Han about unless I'm misunderstanding the situation, right? Him and Han about I need to be, I need to be better. I need to have a better call time. I need to follow up more as the owner, right? If you're not doing that, you need to delegate that automatically and make that a full-time role. It can be remote. It doesn't have to be an in-house person. I mean, you can get someone from overseas if you need to, right? Whatever fits your budget. I promise you can find them. Without a doubt, very, very, very important to do that. Otherwise, you can go the route of, getting a call center, or if your marketing team has solutions for you to help you answer those. Because I can promise that's why this is getting it's getting so washed out in the marketing space. All these ads of especially let's just talk about the HVAC area, for example. You're going to see all these ads now of, hey, don't pay until you do an install, right? Pay per install, or pay per, you don't pay us until you close the deal, right? Everybody, because that's the best. Offers are getting more and more aggressive, which if you see those ads and you're listening to this podcast, and you're an HVAC owner, run the other direction. Or you can not believe me, you can go through that process, realize it's absolute shit, and then you're going to quit after a month. The reason for that being is that that process doesn't exist. What I mean by that is there's no marketing company in the world. Look at any big marketing company, any actual marketing firm that works with hundreds and hundreds of clients. None of them are doing a pay per install model. Okay. Because there are too many variables between you and your team and actually closing the deal and you getting paid. But everybody's running these ads of, hey, we'll pay, you don't pay us until, you install the system. And whether they're taking a percentage of your ad spend or whatever they're doing, I promise you they are doing something. They are making money off you. But to your point, Tom, it's become so attractive to like, hey, you don't have to pay until we set the appointment and you do this. Guys, it does not exist. You're going to have to go through the hard route of figuring it out and working with a company that actually knows what the hell they're doing and paying them a fair price. I don't care who it is, whether it's us or whatever, or Scorpion or any of these massive companies that are out there, right? I put us in that threshold because if you look at our ads, we don't run any of that bullshit. And that's what it is. It's bullshit. But that's why you're seeing more of that, to your point, Tom, because those are the guys that are looking for help or the guys that you're talking about right now. And they love the idea of, hey, can you set it for me? And I just go out there and close it, right? That's the best thing in the world. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So you are in that position in your owner. You need to delegate appointment setting, or you need to find a call center. You need to delegate it, or you can. Yeah. Don't sit there and battle with yourself.
Well, I think too. Sorry about that, guys. I got freaking cable guy working on my stuff.
You're good. No worries.
So the other approach that you got to have too with this is for you got to hit it on multiple fronts too. So a lot of times people they bang the phone out. Some people, they just bang out emails. Some people just bang out texts. You got to have a system where you're targeting these customers on all fronts. So you're sending out your texts, doing your phone calls, doing emails. I can talk to you the point. I want to share just a stat I just got the other day. So we really just started working that AI angle. Finally just got it off the ground, had maybe a full month. And this is talking through working between Angie's and Facebook. Now, I'd probably say your scheduling rate between Angie's typically falls between, on a good day, you're looking probably 27 to 35%. At least it had always floated that way for us. Angie's was just really a tough one for the ladies to get under control because it's so quick. You got to be on it every 2 minutes and get to that set up. So, and not even just that, but just trying to even have a response from these people was daunting. So we ran a full month, and so I'll give you these stats. So we went from a response rate of roughly around 45%, and using the AI, we got a response rate up to over 70%. And
wow,
are you talking messages or calling?
Yeah, so it's gonna be messages.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is full messaging, and this AI only works through. It does do texting. So what it does, it will initiate a phone call. But then the minute somebody picks up, it generates them to call back.
Yeah, it forwards. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So then what happens? So then on our scheduling rate, we were roughly on.
Hold on. You're muted. You're muted, brother.
Jason, you're muted. Jason.
I don't think he can hear us. Hold on. He's good. We'll give him a second.
Muted real quick.
Okay, there you go.
But sorry about that. But yeah, so it went up to a 46% on scheduling from that 27 to 30%. And that's just in our first month. And that's really just trying to get the hang of it. So, we've seen a huge increase on that. And really it's just speed to lead. And that's the name of the game.
Correct.
So when you're working an Angie's angle or you're working a Facebook angle, these people are expecting you to get a hold of them. Like it's a microwave generation. So aside from working your LSAs and your PPCs, a lot of those really are kind of just, going around your website. They are highly interested and they kind of have a direction they want to go. And they're very they're not indecisive. They're pretty decisive. So that's your difference is having that. So you got to have speed to lead if you're working the Angie's angle, your Facebook angle. And then if you're working an LSA side, you can get through LSA side, but again, you got to make sure you have good website. There's a lot that plays into stuff like that, on that side. So, but I definitely say multiple fronts of points of contact, with just one customer. It can't be just a phone call and think that it's one and done. So
Yeah, correct. I wonder, maybe I can break this down for, let's do it. Let's think of like just a throw out a fake situation here. So, because a lot of the guys that are going to be searching for this type of content, right? Or let's just say this topic on how to do this. They're not going to be the guys that have it nailed down already. So
Right.
let's just say, I'll give an example. Let's just say you have an HVAC company in Dallas, Texas, that has, let's say, $2,000 a month. Let's just say, well, let's say $3,000 a month. Let's say $3,000 a month in ad spend. They're paying whatever for, their marketing fee. They've done the stuff that doesn't cost a whole lot. So let's just say they've done like little road signs or yard signs, at a basic level. They're handing out business cards. They've got something up at the church bulletin board. They're whatever, right? Where would you take and allocate that $3,000, knowing that is it, right? They can't up budget right now, right? Where would you take and allocate that $3,000 to where you think that's going to get done the biggest ROI? Now, mind you, this is a company with one technician in the field, that the owner's still out in the field, and let's just say the wife, or maybe it's not the wife, maybe it's a CSR or an office admin. It's an office admin that's doubling as a CSR, can answer the phone, but it maybe doesn't have the system of process and training like a CSR at a bigger company would. What would you have them do with that $3,000? Where does your mind go?
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, and this is just going to be not to, I guess be biased here, but I would end up saying I'd end up working with a company like yours. I'd get you guys in there, and then I'd honestly have you guys utilize that through Facebook. You got to get through your social media. I mean, just your presence up there, your exposure is going to be a lot more, but your ability to really micro it down, to really understand, like you can have full control on your target group when you're going through things like Facebook. So if you want your dollar to go to what you're really targeting, or you have an idea of what, demographic you want, or location, whatever it may be, you got, number one, I'd always tell people this, don't try it on your own. If you're not familiar with how to market on Facebook, I know people watch YouTube. I get it. I've done it myself. You're going to spin your wheels and you're going to, bounce your head off your desk. Just get a professional company in there that's reasonably priced. They'll work with you. And I promise you, the minute you start scaling, those companies will work with you even more to scale, to help you get that scaling going. And they know the direction and where you're at currently right now. So I would absolutely take the money, put it into Facebook with a professional company, such as Tier 1, to be able to really target the groups that you need to micro it as much as you can.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. And I think that some companies run it, and I'm not just saying that, like I could push you anywhere with $3,000, right? Yeah. Maybe not very well in some places, but I would agree with that simply because of volume, because you can get such an attractive offer, and you just at that level, when you're talking, hey, I got $3,000 and that's it, and we can make it work if we grow, right? I'll give you more. Dude, you don't have much to work with. And it's like, you need to start as many goddamn conversations as possible.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Most companies right now, they're probably like, dude, that's exactly opposite of what I heard. They told me Facebook is not working anymore. And I've heard this from marketing companies, like big marketing companies out of your SEO type companies. They're like, oh, yeah, Facebook is not where it's at. And I get it. The spend can be high. But it's, again, what Colton just said. It's getting your foot in the door or getting that conversation started. You're going to have more luck doing there. You go Google SEO. SEO is going to take you forever. You're not going to get off the ground.
Yeah.
You go PPC. You're literally, if you're going to try to dial that up, you can't compete with the people that are out there right now. Unless you're a big fish in a small pond already, you're going to be out by 8:30 in the morning. Now, where's your money and no conversation, right? You're going to get a lot more exposure. It's not going to be high quality, but you're going to get a lot more exposure to then you can allow your skill set to step in and overtake. And just the exposure alone can help you drive around with the trucks out there that can lead and it can snowball. So that'll be my take.
And you can beat your competition. This is kind of forming more into a conversation, frankly, about how disruptive platforms are better than others. But you can beat your competition by things that don't cost money. What I mean by that is like better creative, better offers, right? Like you can be like formatting, knowing that your marketing company, knowing that formatting your ad in certain ways is going to, Facebook likes it more, and it's a damn good video, and it's got a great freaking offer.
Exactly.
So you're being shown more than your competitors. And it's better, right? And then you're running all off your brand, and then they're liking the page, they're starting the conversation. The time where that all falls apart is when you have these small companies and they get themselves into that situation and they get these leads. And yeah, their lead cost, you're going to deal with lead costs in the beginning, right? Maybe your lead cost is amazing, maybe it's really high and you have to work it down. Let the damn marketing company do what they're supposed to do and get it down, right? Chill out. But then the issue is, and then they get to that point, and then they get all these leads in, and they have these conversations, but then they don't have, or let's just say they don't have these conversations because they don't have the call once and be like, I can't get a hold of them.
That's it.
It's like, God damn it, man.
So, and I'll just give you some real stats. I just ran this report yesterday, so I'll give you some real stats. So LSAs alone. So LSAs are obviously going to be your Google ads and things like that come through, right? So your search ads that are popping up. So we just ran it 6 months. I did a 6-month report that I ran. We generated roughly close to 620 leads, right? Our total spend for 620 leads was close to $40,000. So we spent $40,000 in 6 months for 620 leads. Now, our average leads per month, we averaged close to 78 leads a month was our average. Our average spend per month was $4,900. And then they have what's called an absolute, like a super impression rate to show like, hey, how many times did you show up at the top out of 10 times? We roughly were sitting at 30%, which really isn't that great. We used to be at 60, but 30 and 40% is really where you want to be. Well, 40% obviously is where you be. Higher the better. That means you're there 3 times out of 10, right? You're showing up there. You're talking about a company that's been around 42 years, got well over 500 reviews, 5-star reviews. So, and then our CPL was $63. Yep. So that's not bad when you're talking about that quantity. Now, different months are going to fluctuate, but that's 6 months. So if you're saying, okay, what does it look like through these different platforms? Am I only going to spend $4,800? No, we had months that we spent $10,000, but that month we got 152 leads that came through the door. Correct. Now, these are a little bit higher quality type lead as well, too, through the LSA, and that's good. Yep. And you can directly see the correlation into your revenue between when you're looking at things like this. So, and that's what we like to do because we're going to shift money in certain areas on what's working and what's not working.
Yep.
So if Angie's is like, hey man, your budget's out and you got a $10,000 budget over in Angie's, or let's say you got a $3,000 budget in Angie's. If you put $3,000 in Angie's, if you're running replacement leads, it's going to be all different types. If you're running service leads, your average is going to be $20 to up to $75 per lead. You run replacement leads, let's say HVAC, at least in the HVAC world, your average is going to be 75 to 250 per lead. Yeah. And you can burn through them things, and they're going to 3 people at once, right? So you'll burn through $3,000 in 5 days. I can promise you that. And then you got the Angie's guy calling you, hey man, I think we suggest you increase your budget because you have exposure to this much. And golly, you want to talk about a rat race? That's the rat race. So, but I'd say that for sure.
30 years ago.
yeah. Okay. But and then it's based off seasonality too, right? Why are you spending stupid amounts of money during your busy season, right? Yeah. Throttle down a little bit. Now, do not escape your SEO. Keep your branding up. Keep your relevancy up. Make sure your algorithms are staying intact. But there's no need to be throttling up during your busy. Pull that money back and know in your head, okay, I'm going to allocate this during this month for my shoulder seasons. And I'm instead of doing 3,000 this month because I pulled back here, I'm going to do 6 in October. I'm going to do 12 in this month, right? So that you can keep your guys working and keep your books afloat. So that's obvious.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's dude, it is such a game too. Yeah.
Colton, can I ask you a question?
It's a shell game.
Yeah, right? Yeah, what's up, Tom?
In other words, between pay-per-click, Google, SEO, Facebook, what is your typical suggestion on the average size contractor of like how you would split that out as far as percentages? Like what percentage Facebook, what percentage pay-per-click, what percentage SEO?
Yeah. So we try and set everyone up for success in the terms that we have two, and this is going to answer your question. So we have two, when we talk about paid ads, just paid ads in general, we have two tiers of programs. We literally call it a 1.0 and a 2.0. The 1.0 is just one advertising platform at a time. The company that is going to go with this platform or with this program is either a franchise, so they have all their money wrapped up elsewhere and they can only afford to put money into one more platform with a marketing team that's an outside vendor, right? Or they're going to be a very small company. Now, this does us a favor because some companies will want to get in, and money in general, ad spend especially, is very relative. I had a company that did like $150,000 a month the other day that I was reviewing a sales call on, and I was listening to my sales guy was talking to him, and they were talking about like $3,000 a month in ad spend, and the guy goes, "That's a lot into marketing." Right? Because he's only dealt with Lowe's and Home Depot. And I wanted to crawl through the phone and punch the guy in the face in a good way. Right? I'm like, dude, you have no idea.
Yeah, no.
But my point, Tom, in saying that, because when you talk about delegating spend up for the average Joe, right? If they go with the 1.0, it limits them to one platform only. So I don't have to have that conversation about, hey guys, you cannot split $1,500 4 different ways. It's not going to do you any good.
It
right?
won't, yeah.
Right. Where these guys that are going with this larger program, right, they're paying a more premium price for obviously us doing a lot more work. They're going to have more budget to play with. And then we'll step back and we don't just slap stickers on things. So when we delegate ad spend, we're going to figure out what type of processes do you actually have in terms of like, how is your team structured? Do we think Facebook is going to be a fit? Like, we'll get on a kickoff call. Most people don't expect us to do that, but we'll get on a kickoff call before you've even ran ads with us, right? Because you trust us now, you've paid us, and we'll slap you right in the face. We'll tell you, hey, well, I want Facebook. Okay, well, be ready for this, right? And then we'll talk about how we're going to divvy that up. So the average Joe, Tom, most of the time, we're running like if they need a decent amount of volume, right, we're usually running like either a 50-50 split to initially start, and then we'll test the company out. So if they handle Facebook leads really well, we'll turn more rev into that. Or if they really suck at Facebook leads, but they're good at answering the phone, and we're running PPC or LSA, we'll go that direction. Or we'll run like a 70-30 split. So we'll run like 30% of the ad spend into Facebook and 70% into PPC and LSA. If they are really good at handling those direct calls, they like that higher quality lead, but they can also follow up a certain amount. Because in Google, we run PPC and LSA together, right? It's one thing, right? Now they are separate things, obviously, but they'll rank differently. So kind of not a super sexy answer, because it actually does take some time to go through and, hey, you got one caller, she's the admin in your office, Facebook leads take a lot, you're probably going to suck at this, right? I think we should do Yelp and PPC and LSA together, because you're on the 2.0 program. We need to go with more direct call, because you are not going to be able to follow up.
Yeah, location too. Facebook doesn't work in some areas.
100%. You get a low population, you're out. Facebook's out.
Yeah. That whole the ideology of big fish and small pond, it works, but again, it's a different approach.
Correct.
And that's where you're going to be doing your local type stuff that we talked about, the road signs, the getting in there, stuff like that, door hangers, and just getting part of your community. But if you're in something that is congested, hands down, don't be afraid of the big guys. You can have a lot of control. Just having a different approach and a different angle.
Yep.
Talk to any company that had the big jingle that came out, right? Or something crazy. Correct. They were a small company at one point that tried something that stuck, and then they blew up, right? Not everybody comes out blown up, right? You got to start somewhere. So you just got to have that hook.
Yeah, no, 100%. So not an easy thing. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about this topic. That question kind of touched on it perfectly, Tom, because it's like you have to ask the questions, what kind of marketing is actually going to work for us? We know we know what they should do, right? Yeah. Based on cost per lead and how to get the most volume. And like, we can tell you what you should do, but it's more than just getting the lead in. Can you actually handle the lead? Can you convert the lead? Is it something that's going to work for your company and the way that you have your team situated? But yeah, the average Joe, let's say they come in on a 2.0 program, they're doing $100,000 a month in revenue. We're going to go PPC, LSA, and Facebook. Obviously, Facebook includes Instagram. We're going to push video ads really heavy. We're going to have some stills. We'll test 3 different offers. We'll run with the winning offer. It'll change over time. LSA and PPC are going to be strictly towards, depending what the company wants, but usually towards new systems. And then obviously we'll run some budget to service calls. Most of the companies that come initially with us, they don't want more service calls because they haven't figured out how to run selling technicians or things of that nature and flip the call and actually get a bigger ticket price out of it. So they want install, which is fine. And then you just evaluate things from there.
And here's what I would do on. So if I started out, one thing that I would do if I was a one-man show is I would absolutely go Facebook. I'd go video. Video always worked way better than my stills. Converted always higher.
Yeah.
And then I'd run with an AI if I was a one-man show. Have an AI at least have its touch points to have that quick turn time, have that conversation, allow me to get in and have that flexibility with them. And then I'd run the calls myself, knowing that I have the skill set to turn them because I know what I'm walking into at that point. That would be that's my blueprint to anybody who's a one-man show. Get yourself on Facebook, get a good video ad that you can shoot yourself. It's got to be organic. It's got to be B-real. Don't do all this fancy, getting things all updated.
Yeah.
I've ran 5 different, I mean, Colin could talk to it way better than I could, but at least the stats that I've seen in a lot of the bigger kind of areas, it's that organic stuff that's really picking up and that B-real stuff.
Yeah.
Unboxings, things like that. It just helps. And then from there, get an AI that can attach itself and have a conversation. And you ain't got to go super fancy, $20,000 software out the gate.
Yeah.
Get yourself a very generic one that can at least have a conversation and touch them and at least make this person feel important.
Yeah.
And then get yourself involved and get out there.
100%. And most of those one-man show guys that are listening to this, AI, get over yourself, right?
Exactly.
AI texting is freaking old news now, dude. It's good as shit. People are never going to know. You don't have to have them call, right? Well, I don't want a robot. Shut up. Do you want to make sales or not? Right? Because you suck, John, at calling people, at texting people, right? You're terrible.
That's a lot of people, man. For some reason, it's just not people's strong points. And a lot of it's because here's the thing. A lot of our industry, and I'm just going to say it, is definitely driven mostly by men. Mm-hmm. Men hate the damn phone. Yeah. We just don't like it, right? So, I mean, 9 times out of 10, like, hell, try to get my dad to call anybody. It's not going to happen, right? Yeah. That generation was like that. So, I mean, they'll do it if they have to. But if you're going to sit there and have to bang out calls left and right, it's not something they love to do. You got to be a different breed for it. So get your touches in there, get the conversation started, then jump on the phone and have that conversation.
Yep.
I think you'll find success.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm just trying to think of any other big touch points because this is it. This went exactly how I was hoping it would, right? Because we talked about like what people should do on this podcast before. I don't really know if we've had just a marketing one, but we've talked about here's what you should do.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about here. This is why it might not fucking work.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So yeah, that and obviously, maybe this for lack of a better word, but like the grassroots stuff is always gonna be there, right? It's always good to
don't abandon that. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that's your backbone. That's your foundation.
And like the one lead that comes in from that kind of stuff every month or whatever it is, they're gonna be damn good.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, you'll get 1 or 2 of them that comes in to help you get launched on these, right? If you're doing an install and you got a 5,000 net that you just made on this, I mean that's gonna pay for all your marketing right there.
Correct.
Just be prepared to. I mean, you're not going to be a millionaire in 6 months. It's just not going to. I mean, it might happen. I hope it happens for you, but don't go in there with that expectation. Take your money, reinvest it back into the business. Don't go on vacations.
Yep. Yes. And don't. Yeah. And that's a good point too. And don't be scared of ad spend either. Right. Like when you start campaigns, don't get scared. Right. So I gave that example of a company in Dallas. We've got a company literally very similar to that right now, and obviously we have account managers, right? And there was an email forwarded to me from the client to the account manager, forwarded to me. I had shot a text message back to the client, and it was about working on a video, obviously video creatives for Facebook. They're going Facebook direction. Like what we just explained, it was very similar to that company, like lower budget. This is what we're doing. We're doing Facebook and Instagram. They're on 1.0 program, and they're like 2.5 weeks in, and the owner had some sort of comment like, "Oh, me and so-and-so, our account manager, are meeting on Monday. We don't know we don't know if we're going to continue, or we don't know if I'm not emotionally attached to the account, right? Because our account managers are taking that over. So I'm able to, from my seat, just speak with complete logic. And I was like, you have a good CPL. You had a bad booking rate. We just implemented a pricing tool. Way too early to pull out of a campaign like this. We'll make adjustments as necessary. Was like my response, right? Because like that's kind of nice not being the account manager is like, I don't feel like I have to babyfoot them, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, dude,
Exactly.
you're 2.5 weeks in.
Yeah.
Chill out.
That's it. Yeah. That's the thing. The instant gratification is sometimes tough for these individuals.
100%. It's like, I see the money going. I
think your toughest job, Colton, is managing their process.
100%.
You doing your job is
100%.
easy for you.
Yeah.
But managing their back end process, and that's why I was saying is that there's, I don't know what it would cost to put something like that together. I get new dealers that want to send me their turndowns for their last 45 days, finance turndowns, and we call it an inside sales as a service, service basically. But that's a whole nother can of worms of
100%
on the phone and sending texts out and hey,
that is 100% a totally different, like you said, that is a whole different can of worms. And people are like, people dabbled in it, right? And we'll set your appointments for you. And like I said, we connect to a call center and do all that, but it's a whole different deal to do like a done with you program. And the only time that I've seen that done, and it's not even at scale, the only time that I've seen that done from a marketing firm is a smaller marketing firm working with less than 100 clients. And they do like a community model, where like everybody's in a Slack chat or everybody's in whatever, which real larger companies are not going to do that, right? They don't even want to use your CRM that you give them, let alone be in a damn community chat, right? And then people will share their systems of process, and maybe the company goes and helps them out, or whatever. But that's a totally different deal. And like you said, one of us said a couple months ago, it's slowly becoming where like, as marketing companies are trying to do more than they should, just stick to what you're good at. Right. But you're right, Tom. I mean, it's managing the back end process and expectations. It's like they see, $3,000 go through 1 month or $1,500 or whatever, and they lose their mind. And I'm over here like, dude, last month I lost $26,000. I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. I mean, and that's it, really.
Stay the course. Right.
You have to.
So, it's a tough deal, but anyway, so like knowing what kind of structure you have, knowing what you're good at. And like Jason said, even if you're not good at, that was a great example. Even if you're not the guy that's going to answer the phone, don't be the guy that you get on the phone with a marketing company and you're like, I answer every call and my speed to lead is great. You actually start working together and you're actually terrible. Just tell them you're terrible, and then they can implement something to help you. And know the difference between the platforms, direct search, disruptive, what kind of lead's going to come in, how to handle those leads, and what's going to work the best based on your size and your budget. That's really it.
Yeah. Lock down your approach.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
Well, guys, anything else that you boys have on top of this? We're running about 42 minutes. So I'm good.
No, then. People buy payments.
People buy payments. We'll see you on episode 23.